Dairy farming is a crucial agricultural practice worldwide, providing a steady supply of milk and dairy products that play an essential role in daily nutrition. With an increasing demand for high-quality products, dairy farming not only enhances food security but also supports rural livelihoods and local economies. The practice involves breeding, rearing, and managing dairy cattle to ensure maximum milk production, requiring expertise in animal care, nutrition, and sustainable farming. On today's Farm Matters show, we visit Kasanje Practical and Demonstration Farm in Wakiso District to learn practical techniques for rearing the most dairy breeds. Esther Nakajubi, the managing director, shares her valuable insights on how to manage a successful dairy farm.
At the dairy section, we are keeping different breeds, but we are mainly keeping Frisians. We have one Gazi, we have Asha, and then this one is a cross between Frisian and Brown Swiss. So we are basically keeping dairy breeds only. And the purpose of keeping dairy breeds, it's because our breeding objective is to have high quality or to increase milk production, but as well as also having animals whose consumption is not very high, to discourage us or maybe to become a problem when it comes to feeding them. Behind me are our cows feeding, and they are feeding on hay. They are feeding on hay. This is hay, the grass they are feeding on. And once we feed them on hay, they take in the dry matter content, the moisture content in the hay has been reduced. So once it reduces, that means that they take in bigger volumes of water. And we know for the dairy animals and even the beef, water contributes a lot to it has a very big percentage on the composition of milk. So once we give them this dry grass, which is called hay, it increases on the water intake, which is our interest if we want to get more milk. But still, what we do on this hay, we usually add some additives. At times we put inoculants. We add some additives to increase the palatability of this grass. So once we additives, like at times we put molasses, we sprinkle molasses on the hay, and once we sprinkle, it increases the palatability of the feed. And at times we put some minerals. And probably, by the way, once we are giving this feed, we usually mix what we call a total mixed ration. We get silage. There is this bit, it was here, we get some silage, it was made, this is the silage. We usually get some silage, we mix it with hay, and also the dairy meal, and plus some other additives like we usually put some minerals, and then mix together. Once we mix it, we feed our animals on the total mixed ration. And once they feed on this, the microbes that are in that, because we add some dairy meal as a concentrate, it increases on the multiplication of the microbial flora in the rumen. And once it's increased, that means that the digestibility of this feed they have eaten is going to be increased. And once the digestibility increases, plus some vitamins that we added and others, the utilization of the absorption and utilization of the nutrients from what we've given them is increased, and that is reflected in the amount of milk that these cows are going to give you. So as farmers out there, I would urge them to include science in managing dairy animals. Once you include that science, it gives you good results. Your animals can get good you get good results in terms of performance of your animals. So what we do, we usually give them this, and we add some molasses in their water, they take. So it increases also the amount of water that has been taken by these animals. So at the end of the day, an animal is able to give you reasonable amount of milk. We had some of them at their first parity, they can give you 25 liters. At second parity, they give up to 30 liters. And maybe this lady next to me, she's been sick. She's called Liz. She's under treatment. That even explains her body condition. She's under treatment. She had some... she's picking up. She had lumpy skin, but she's improving. In her first parity, she has given us the first calf. In her first parity, Liz was giving us 24 liters. So we anticipate, usually in dairy, you can estimate the amount of milk. You can do selection based on the performance of the cow in its first parity, in its first calving. If she gave us 23 liters, now we anticipate that in the next calvings, she will be able to give us close to 30 liters or 30 liters. With better management, she can even go up to 35 liters. So, and we have so many that perform good.
A farmer does not need to start with a large number of cows, but should set clear objectives, as I did, to achieve significant earnings from the farm.
We started with one cow. She's called Kakopo. She's somewhere there. We started with one cow, which I inseminated. I want to encourage farmers out there. I inseminated it myself. It gave me a female called Margaret. Then I inseminated it again. It gave me Liz. I inseminated it again. It gave Mukisa. And then there it gave us a bull called David. Then even the first daughter, Margaret, also gave us a female. So, and it was me inseminating all of them. So now I want to urge farmers out there. You don't have to start with a very big herd. This herd started with one cow. And right now we are seeing so many cows behind us. And there are so many calves, some of them you've not been able to see them. So this means that once your focus, you should have an objective. When we go into breeding, or when we go into dairy management, we have to come up with an objective. Which objective is the one we take for as our breeding objective? And once that objective has been set, we usually look at the environment where it's going to be achieved. We usually look at the selection procedures that we are going to use, and we usually look at the mating procedures that we are going to use, evaluation, and so many other things. And once we have our set objective and the targets within that objective, we carry out an evaluation at the end of the day to see, have we been able to achieve it?
There are several precautions in breeding dairy cows to help farmers maximize their yield.
And once we are breeding here, we usually look at several things. We look at the selection that we do in these calves. We usually take our weights when the calves are born. There is a certain weight that they are supposed to reach for them to be selected for breeding. If a calf does not give you that weight at birth, then we don't consider it for breeding. And then when we are raising these cows, we usually make sure that we give them enough milk, most especially for the females and even males that are meant for breeding. Because for us, we don't slaughter the males, we also raise them up and we sell them as breeding males and they buy them. So what we do, we give them good amounts of milk, and in addition to that, we usually supplement with some pellets, and these pellets increase on the development of the stomach of those calves, because they are born when the stomach is not yet developed. So we initiate by giving them hay and also providing the pellets. It increases on the development of it speeds up, not increasing. It speeds up the development of the stomach, and then eventually when they start feeding on hay, by the time you wean them, the stomach has been well developed and they can digest the feed so well to extract the nutrients out of it. And then after that, when you put them on a total mixed ration, the calves always grow very fast. Margaret have talked about she conceived before she clicked a year, before she made a year. Liz also conceived before she made a year. And the Muksa, those ones that were born here at first, they all conceived before they made a year. And that is explained from the feeding that we subjected them to right from when they were born and as they grew. So it's very crucial for these animals to be fed well and also to be provided with a comfortable environment. Here we are is the dairy unit. Up is where we keep their feed. It's the hay barn.
Feeding is important for the growth and maintenance of dairy breeds. Proper nutrition boosts their growth rate and protects against diseases.
For all livestock species, be it cattle, pigs, poultry, or any other, once you feed them, whatever they eat, they extract what they need for their body maintenance. So whatever you give, they first get what they need for their body maintenance, and after getting what they need for their body maintenance, then the balance is what they defer to production and reproduction. So which means that if your cow is not fed well, it's not going to conceive, it's not going to come into heat. And once it comes into heat, this is why some say these animals are inseminated, they don't conceive. It's one of the reasons. There are so many, but it's one of the reasons. And even coming into heat, that's why sometimes they say this cow has silent heat. Yes, there are so many reasons, but that one can be one of them. Because if it has silent heat, at times we just have to adjust the nutrition, to improve on the nutrition, to put those other, to add some nutrients that might be lacking. And then you will see this cow come into heat. And once you've made it, once you've made a total mixed ration and the cow gets what it needs for its body maintenance, that means that it's going to be able to give your calf a year. And when it gives your calf a year, again it will be in lactation for the recommended number of days, and then also give you enough milk, because this is why we rear them. It's not just for prestigious purposes. It clearly supports the vigor of that particular. The vigor may be good because the breed is good, but then it supports the growth rate. It supports the feed conversion rate, because if you've given a good nutrition, the rate at which this feed is going to be converted, if you've created enough microflora in the stomach of this animal, the rate at which this feed is going to be digested and even converted into nutrients and absorbed is going to be so high. And we look at the different ingredients or nutrients that can contribute to that. So nutrition is very crucial. We don't just feed for the sake of feeding. And once you don't feed so well, this animal is going to grow a little bit stunted. They will not grow to your expectation. They will not, because remember I told you there is an objective that we are targeting. we've got a breeding objective. So if your nutrition is not very, very crucial and you're not doing it rightly, the chances are very high that you're not going to achieve your breeding objective, despite of having a very good breed, despite of having a very good structure like this one, and despite of also doing the preventative treatments and even the curative treatments. If nutrition is good, the chances that your animals, it boosts immunity. The chances that your animals are going to be strong enough to be resistant to certain diseases is going to increase. So with proper nutrition, you're sure that your animals are not going to fall sick. You're sure of having better productivity. You're sure of having, in terms of growth and in terms of milk production, and you're sure that your animals are going to reach the puberty age at the right time.
Cows need to stay in clean and well-structured place to prevent the spread of pests and diseases in the kraal.
If you look at the fencing of our dairy, we created a system in which we can control ticks. Around, if you moved around, you can see it. Because we believe ticks move. So there is that system. When you're a farmer, you have to be so innovative. You don't just cram things, and you do several things to see whether they are applicable, and you can get result out of them. So when we improved that system, and it has really worked, because we rarely spray these animals, and they usually we can spray like once in a month, because the system we provided around our fence, the ticks cannot cross over to come and affect our animals. And when you're doing farming, you have to control the cost of production in terms of treating animals. The money that is wasted in treating animals is too much. So the more you provide systems that will prevent disease or infection, the better you realize, or the more profit you realize from your enterprise. So that system that we created around our fence, around the paddock, the cow unit, prevents ticks from coming in. And then the other issue is that to prevent or to minimize labor wastage, we have the feed just above the cows. It provides the coolness of the structure. It's usually cool for the animals. The heat is not too much, but still when it comes to feeding them, somebody just goes up, the ladders are there, somebody goes up, and where I'm seated here is where the feed, there are two outlets. So you just pour the feed from within, and they're eating from the corridor. So it becomes so the labor is minimized.
Not only cows are kept within the structure, with proper planning, I also rear birds alongside the cows.
Within the cow shed, we are rearing turkeys. They are fenced within. There are gin fowls, they are fenced within. And also some local chicken here, a lot. So they move. As we feed our cows here, what we do, we usually deworm them. But as we feed the cow, the dairy milk that pours down is what they feed on, and also some insects from the dung which is collected. And it's also there are also other enterprises that supplement dairy and can generate income for the farm.
Managing multiple projects on the farm does not require a lot of money. My passion for my work has been the foundation of my success in dairy venture.
I love what I'm doing. I love it. They are not pushing me. I may not have the money, too much money. People's mentality is that those people have money, that's why they are doing that. No, I don't have that money. And even I've seen those ones who have the money, but they can't do the same. For me, there are first answers that have the passion for them. Having passion is very broad. it means that I care for them. I have to care for their nutrition. It means that whatever concerns them is my concern. I cannot draw away minus knowing what the cows are going to eat. I cannot prepare a meal and eat minus knowing what the cows are going to eat for that day. I cannot move anywhere. They become part of you. That's how I've managed to manage. And the other one is that I've empowered my colleagues. I call them even colleagues, not just workers. I've empowered my colleagues at the farm. I train them, I give them the principles, the science behind it, including the junior workers, such that they understand once we do steaming up, the essence of doing steaming up. Once we do this, and I usually advise my farmers that when you come for the training, you also bring those people that are taking care of those animals, because they are the ones who really they are the ones who do the real work, because for you, you're not there to feed every time. So once this person who feeds understands that I'm feeding like this because of ABCD, the chances of him feeding rightly are going to be high. Number 2 is empowering them. And the other issue is that number 3, I fully engage myself in all the activities of the farm. I'm not a telephone farmer. I don't just give orders, but we work together with my colleagues, and my colleagues are my workers. And this is why we've been able to achieve this. And the other issue how I've been able to maintain these enterprises is that when you're at the farm, you have to control as much as possible expenditures. There are some people who are too smart to touch anything. All those works that you can do. And you know what is very funny? They can't do any work. What is very funny, they can't do any job in their farm, because that job is dirty job. But they usually spend a lot of money in the gym to do exercises, to reduce the weight. And for me, my gym is my farm. So my gym is my farm because I fully engage in everything. So it's my exercise schedule.
To truly benefit from dairy farming, a farmer should not only rely on personal knowledge, but should also seek to learn from others.
I urge farmers out there, at times we need to learn from others. We need to be trained how things are done. I'm that one person, despite the fact I'm speaking technical, but for me, I usually visit others and I usually learn. Learning is like fire. You don't say, I've learned much, I don't want to learn anymore. Every time you visit or you go, you learn something new.
Today's visit to Kasanje Farm highlighted that with passion, proper planning, and continuous learning, dairy farming can be both productive and sustainable. Esther Nakajubi's approach shows how a small start can lead to big rewards. Thanks for watching Farm Matters, and join us for another episode next week.